Hi, hello, Wiffle Nation. I'm Carl Coffee with WSEM Media, and this is Wiffle Roundup Weekly. Wait, no, that isn't right. Sorry. It's been a while. This is Weekly Wiffle Roundup. For this episode, we have looked back on 10 years. Wow. 10 years of WSEM history and determine the 10 greatest WSEM players of all time. You ready? Here we go. At number 10 is Dennis Pearson, who was the first dominant pitcher and often called the greatest power hitter in league history. He was part of the downriver wiffle scene 2 years before WSEM even started. Then, in that first season in 2011 with no rotation rules and no speed limit from 45 feet, he was deadly on the mound, going 14-4, leading Get Her Done to the first WSEM championship. Although Dennis had a nice 2012 on the mound and a serviceable one in 2013, he is on this list because of what he's done at the plate. He is set to return full-time in 2021, but Dennis hasn't been a full-time player since 2017. He at one time was number one on many offensive stats, especially the power hitting ones. His 22 home runs in 2013 is second most in a single season. He has 7 straight seasons of double-digit home runs. Even after missing the last 2.5 seasons, he still ranks second all-time in home runs with 102, fourth in RBIs with 256, and on the pitching side is fifth all-time in Ks with 868. Dennis is no doubt ready to get back on the field and get that all-time home run record back and that elusive second championship. Does he still have it? I wouldn't bet against him. The difference in WSEM from 2011 and 2012 are so vast, and one of the main reasons was the addition of the 4 Southgate guys who joined Belgian Wiffle. Spoiler alert, all 4 made this list. At number 9 is David Castle. While the other 3 Southgate guys preferred to stay together, David had his own path. A path that sadly has never won him a WSEM title. David is also on this list mainly for his offensive prowess, but he did have some solid years, being one of the better number 2 pitchers in the league. In 2014 and 15 especially, where he went a combined 12-9 with over 300 Ks in those 2 years and had a very respectable 2.90 ERA in 2015. Back to hitting, where David in a stretch from 2013 through 18 was so consistently good he averaged 12 home runs, 41 hits, and 36 RBIs a season. David, in my opinion, is the greatest contact hitter in league history and one of the most dedicated players in the league. He's also played on 6 teams, mostly as a captain. David has had quite a career, and all that is missing is winning that championship belt. Steven Werner comes in at number 8, and his story in WSEM is a unique one. Steven saw a Reddit post from Commissioner Coffee in 2014 and told about his own league in Southfield. He was later put on a team that needed players, and in his first year almost helped him to a championship appearance. His championship appearances would later come in 15, 16, and 18. But he hasn't been able to hold the belt in victory. Steven's pitching isn't worth mentioning much. He had a nice 2017 going 3-1 with 40 Ks, but at best you can call him a serviceable number 3/spot starter. Steven has been the greatest leadoff hitter in league history. His 62 hits in 2016 is the most ever in a season. He also has the record for most doubles in a season with 18 in 2017 and triples with 4 in 2015. Although he hasn't been a power hitter in recent years, he had 15 in 2016. Steven has had to play catch-up on all-time records since he joined the league halfway through 2015, but he has still made a mark. He is tied for first with 44 doubles, tied for second in triples with 9, third in average 331, and third in OBP at 473. Since he is ranked 1 ahead of David Castle, I can honestly call Steven the best player in the league without a championship. His playing time has appeared to come down in recent years, but he is not done yet. Is 2021 the year he gets it done? Evan Bischoff is the first retired player to crack the list at number 7 and the first one to be on here for his pitching. Offensively, Evan is no slouch, with 2015 being his best year at the plate, having 38 hits with 8 home runs. Speaking of 2015, that was the year of Evan Bischoff, as he finally was no longer in the shadow of older brother Austin, became the ace of the Wicked Aces, who won the championship in a very competitive season. 2015 wasn't the only championship for Evan. He also helped the Wicked Aces win in 2012 and 13. So, for most of his career in the league, Evan was a number 2 pitcher, and maybe the best number 2 pitcher the league has ever seen. He has a career 26-4 record, 0.79 ERA, and an eye-popping 0.76 WHIP. He was deadly accurate too, barely giving up walks. Not an intimidating figure who you knew was going to be all over the board. It's quite remarkable what Evan was able to do, especially in the Black Bat era. In the 2012 season, Evan did not give up a single run, which is of course a record. He is both first and second in least walks given up season, with 6 in 2014 and 8 in 2016. Evan also had a perfect game in 2012. Evan's dominance as the most accurate and best number 2 pitcher, combined with his leadership as the ace in 2015, make him an easy choice at number 7. Here is another Evan B and another retired player. Evan Bortmas cracks the list at number 6. Evan was among the large group of players who joined in 2012 and made an instant impact. His Manchester punchouts went 26-2 that year, and Evan was a force. He went 10-1 with a 0.70 ERA on the hill and hit 20 home runs, 55 RBIs, and had an OPS of 1.385 en route to winning MVP that year. Although a championship didn't come that first year, he won in 13, 15, and 17. Evan did impress on the mound early in his career, highlighted by his 2 perfect games in 2012. He also had a very nice 2013, going 4-2 with a 0.69 ERA, and in 2018, he went 4-0. But he is on here for one reason: hitting. Many believe Evan is the greatest WSEM hitter of all time, being ranked number 6 of all time, when in reality, he has had 3 seasons as a full-time player is quite the accomplishment. Evan again won the MVP in 2015, a year where offensive star power was quite limited thanks to a plethora of top pitching. Evan's .370 career batting average is first all-time and 33 points higher than second place. He also leads in OBP with .535 and slugging with .754. Although Evan is missed in WSEM, I can guarantee you the pitchers do not miss him. No one in the box was feared more. Speaking of more, here are more great players. Ranking the top 10 is cool. You know what's cooler? Ranking the top 20. Here are the greatest WSEM players from the last 10 years, 16 through 20. Remember when I mentioned those 4 Southgate guys? Well, here is another. It's Craig Skinner, and he comes in at number 5. Craig can be goofy, but deep down, the guy is a bulldog, especially on the mound. Craig has thrown 5 perfect games, which is second most all time. His PG in 2020 was the first in the league in 3 years. Craig's been a full-time player his entire career, so he has put together a nice career at the plate. In fact, Craig is one of the more underrated hitters in the league. A career .253 hitter with occasional power and a lifetime OPS of .880. Craig has only 1 championship in 2014, which also happens to be the season he had 10 wins, a high for him. His glory days of pitching were from 2012 to 2015, where he never had an ERA over 0.69 or a WHIP over 1. Although not as dominant now, he can still win you a game when needed. Lifetime, Craig is second all-time in Ks with 1,353 and second all-time in wins at 59. Craig's career is often overshadowed because he was dominant at a time when the league had other dominant pitchers who made more noise nationally. If you look at only WSEM, however, Craig is right there as the top 3-4 best pitchers in league history, and he isn't done. Austin Bischoff comes in at number 4. He was the first WSEM player to get national attention as an elite player, deservingly so. His first full 2 seasons as the captain and ace of the Whiteford Wicked Aces, he won a clown shoe and 2 championships. Austin's pitching stats are very impressive, but one of the most overlooked parts of his career was his 2016 at the plate. Austin led the league in home runs with 20, had 63 RBIs, which is second most in a single season, and his 56 runs scored is also second most in a season. That year, he led the depleted Wicked Aces team to the best regular season record. Like his brother though, Austin is on this list because of pitching. In a 3-year stretch from 2012 to 2014, where Austin pitched 151 innings, he gave up a combined 10 runs and 20 hits. That's ridiculous. He was the ace, but with a roster deep in pitching, he would often give the ball to others instead of improving his stats. Austin's career ERA of 0.76 is second all time and his whip of 0.86 is third. Austin does lead in two stats, however. He is first in batting average against at 0.74 and Ks through 6 at 16.26. Think about it. In a 6-inning game where at minimum you face 18 batters, Austin averaged over 16 Ks a game. That's nutty. Austin is a true legend. Now let's take a look at those players who just missed out on the top 10, the 11th through 15th best WSEM players from the last 10 years. Stephen Farkas could be put at number 1 and no one would bat an eye. I do, however, have to put longevity and championships into the equation, and that is why Stephen comes in at number 3. Stephen played 5 seasons, with his 5th being part-time. But when he joined, no one set the league on fire faster than him, and not only that, but he set the national scene on fire as well. In his first full month in the league in 2014, Stephen threw 3 perfect games. He would add 3 more in his career for a record 6. Unlike Austin, he never had the luxury of a roster deep in pitching, so any chance Stephen had, he threw. He won the Clown Shoe in 2014, 15, and 17. That year in 2016 he didn't win, he still went 11-3 with a 0.97 ERA. Also in that year, he won the MVP award. He was a top hitter in 2016, which is also the year he won his only championship with the Seas. At the plate that year, he hit 19 home runs with a 379 batting average and an OPS of 1.340. It was often common knowledge that Dennis Pearson's 233 Ks in 2011 would never be touched. There were no pitching rotations that rule, so how could anyone break it? Well, Stephen broke it not once but twice. He had 253 in 2015 and 251 in 2014. His ERA was 0.27, maybe third all time, but the sheer number of innings he pitched over the top 2 guys makes his more impressive. He also has the first and second best whips in single season history, with 0.35 in 2014 being tops. I could honestly go on and on with Stephen Farkas' records and stats, but at some point, we have to move on. I'll end with this. Stephen made a mark in the league and in the sport that few have. The stretch he had from 2014 through 17, in my opinion, is the most dominant 4 years that any Wiffler has ever had. At number 2, we have Chandler Phillips. It was tough to put Chandler here, and ultimately it was a close call. Chandler played 1 season with the Belgian Wiffles, and the rest of his career has been with El Diablos. In those 8 seasons as Diablo, he has 4 championships, 2 MVPs, and a Clown Shoe. The scariest thing about him? His pitching is getting better. That is something that does not happen in this sport. With Chandler, it's the truth. He has always been a dominant ace, but his 2020 season was the best he has ever looked. His career numbers are a sight to look at and easily makes him the greatest two-way player in league history. Offensively, he's third all time with 324 hits, first in home runs with 108, and second in RBIs with 321. On the pitching side, he is first in Ks with 1,408 and wins with 66. Chandler is often called wildly accurate, which means you never know what is coming. If there was a stat for Ks after being in a 4-0 count, he would lead in a landslide. I believe Chandler is the only player in the league history with 4 WSEM titles, and it's no surprise why he is ranked at number 2. With El Diablo's folding and Chandler now a father, maybe his time to finally step back a bit. We hope it isn't true, because the league would be way boring without him. At number 1 is Kyle Tomlinson, the top player in WSEM history. You may be asking, well, Carl, you called Dennis Pearson the greatest power hitter, David Castle the greatest contact hitter, Stephen Werner the greatest leadoff hitter, Evan Bischoff the greatest number 2 pitcher, Evan Bortmas the greatest hitter, Craig Skinner the goofiest bulldog, Austin Bischoff the original greatest pitcher, Stephen Farkas the greatest pitcher, and Chandler Phillips the greatest two-way player. So where does that leave Kyle? Well, he's simply the best player. It doesn't make sense, but yet it does. How do you explain Kyle Tomlinson? For many years, he only touched the mound in desperate situations, true. Lately, however, he has pitched and pitched well. Since 2017, he has gone to combine 13-1 with a 1.86 ERA. So a guy who only pitched in desperate times in the past has now all of a sudden become a top pitcher? That is impressive and should be talked about. Kyle's hitting is on another level. Only twice in his 9 seasons has he hit under 300. In his career, 337 is second all time. Kyle is the all-time leader in hits with 377, triples with 10, total bases with 729, walks with 374, runs scored with 335, and RBIs with 326. Kyle won 3 championships with El Diablos and was MVP in 2013 and 14. I often viewed him as a quiet assassin as he just got it done, often with his teammates making more noise. The more you get to know Kyle, the more you see how much he loves the sport and even more, his home league. I do not see him slowing down anytime near, and his career numbers will only get better. But will he always stay at number 1? 10 years. Can you believe it? From game 1 to game, Lord knows. It has been a fun ride. The players we don't remember, the players we'll never forget. I am so proud to have been part of creating this wonderful league. We have been to the top, and you know what? Here's to another 10 years. Why not? Thanks for watching. I'm Carl Coffee. See ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a sausage race with 3 competitors. Our first competitor in green, cup of coffee. Our second competitor in teal, Skin Skinner. And our third competitor in orange, Marky Mark. Alright, folks. Take your marks. Get set. Go! And it goes. Right in the corner, in first place, is Marky Mark. Nick is going off in the wrong direction. Oh, and Peter wins. Our first sausage fest. Where'd Nick go?